It was so hard for me to understand how to be myself because I was not allowing myself to listen to myself. How do you start to have more self-love? How to have a strong sense of self for people who feel like they don't know how to do any of that stuff? When I first started with this, I was like, I don't even know who I am. I don't even know what I like. Like, do I even want to be who I am? There's so many questions. First of all, you have to understand that you are in a very, very loud world. There are opinions coming at us at light speed just by looking at social media, just by overhearing someone talking, let alone hearing what your significant other or your ex or your mom or your best friend or your whoever has to say about anything. And there's so many opinions coming from ourselves too, from all the things that we've been taught, all the things that we've been imposed upon over the years, that are freaking us out, that are making us doubt ourselves, that are really just taking us away from the core of who we are. And this is why we cannot feel good about ourselves. So what we need to do is to give ourselves 5 minutes of freedom. What this looks like is giving yourself for 5 minutes to be as selfish, honest, ridiculous, candid, uncensored. Give yourself the freedom to be all of that for 5 minutes. I give you permission to be totally selfish in this moment, to hear your truth. And it doesn't make you a selfish person, okay? This is just for you to privately hear your voice. So this means you sit down, you do whatever it takes to get quiet, and then you ask yourself, what do I really want in this situation? How do I really feel about this? And maybe you can journal. Maybe you can record yourself talking into your phone. I want you to record it somehow. Practice saying, if it was just up to me, if it's purely up to me right now and I'm just getting honest, how do I actually feel about this? What do I really want? This is just for your own information. This is just for you to hear yourself in this moment. Okay, so don't freak yourself out and block yourself by thinking that, oh my God, if I actually say the truth, I'm going to have to do it. It's not like that. This is just listening to yourself and getting information. So, for example, I actually went through a very big identity crisis where I realized that what I actually was planning to do, that whole plan wasn't actually something that I wanted. And I was so wishy-washy. I'm like, no, I have to do this. This is what I planned. This is what I told everyone I was going to do. And then I was just such in a dark pit of the soul. So I had to sit myself down. And I actually stared into this exact mirror, just in a different house. And I would stare into this mirror, try not to judge myself, and look at myself and say, hey, what is it that you really want here? What is the truth? Let's just get really, really honest, even if it's scary, even if it sounds ridiculous, even if it sounds like we don't even know what we're going to do to get there. Let's just be honest. And I found myself saying, you know what? I don't want to be a librarian. That's what I was going to do. I actually do not want to do this. Even though part of me really wanted to do that, yes, I know I'm not going to be happy unless I am doing something more along the lines of helping other people with their lives and being creative. And I had to admit this to myself. I'm like, I'm not going to be happy unless I am doing that, because I had been shunning myself from this information for the last at least 5 years while I was going through school, while I was telling everybody that's the plan, while I was telling myself and trying to convince myself that that's the plan. I didn't know how I really felt until I sat down and was dead truthful to myself. And so I wrote it down, and I actually have my actual journal from that time where I said, the truth is this. And I was so scared. I was so in a funk, but I had to be truthful to myself and give myself that for the first time in my life. And this was a huge turning point for me, because I said to myself, this is what I know is true for me. And I had to force myself to treasure this, to say, look, this is you saying something that's important to you. Look at where it got you, to keep putting other people first, to keep telling yourself, it's fine, I'll listen to what everybody else wants. I'll listen to what's expected of me. I'll just follow what everyone else says to do. I'm not happy. I had to really tell myself that and get truthful and say, okay, at least I heard my truth. Now I'm going to keep it in here, and I'm going to keep it with me. And even though I don't know exactly how I'm going to change things up, at least I heard my voice, and my voice gets heard for the first time in my life. And it was from then on that I began to slowly change things little by little by little, feeling it out as I went along. But I had to hold on to this truth and make it like a Bible of myself, a book of truth for myself, and to show myself and teach myself how to listen and care about what I had to say. This is actually an art. This is a skill that you need to have if you're going to start to be yourself more, love yourself more, build your confidence in yourself. If someone's like, just be yourself, and you don't know your actual voice, what you actually want, who you actually desire to be in situations in your life, how are you going to be yourself? Right? Logically, this makes sense. So you cannot be yourself if you can't hear yourself.